This one is a little bush separated from its root, and it's in a place that it shouldn't be. And I titled it Half Light, and not just because the separating and the darkness and the lightness inside the picture, also because of the same thing that it's not attached to its roots. But the interesting thing about these kind of plants, these are based in dry places, dry climates, I mean. And the interesting thing is that if the wind comes and they roll to a place where there will be water and there will be growth there, it may look dead to you, but it's not. And it's the magic and the interesting part of the dry climate plants that I really enjoy.
You gave it the title of the whole series. This is it's like the title image, and so that metaphor kind of makes a lot of sense now.
I wanted to show this short video that we made with Nomic Book and the photo book publishing. It was made for the Kickstarter campaign for printing my photo book Half Light, and I shot it during my treatment. And I will tell you more about the project after this video.
Of course. So we'll go ahead and play it now.
Yeah.
And we'll cut to it now.
My name is Shahrzad Darafsheh. I'm an Iranian photographer. I was born in Tehran. We live a little bit out from the city. It's about 30 kilometers away from town. My husband made a home. His workshop is downstairs and we live upstairs. So yeah, it's a little village I think we're living in outside Tehran. There are lots of good stuff here because it's like, for us, it's like a castle. Every bad energy and every other things goes away in this place. It's our home and we made it with our hands. We save little money and we work here and make our home. So yes, here it's like my heaven. When I lose my feminine parts of my body, I get a little bit obsessed about how do I look now, literally. I think that I was searching for my femininity. So I started to look at myself more often at the mirror, examine my body and how it's going to change and how I'm going to change, how I'm changing. Because I suddenly have a menopause at 36 and it's a little bit hard. My body changes in every aspect, so I started to look at myself through my camera, which helps me to understand that it's not important to lose an organ, it's all in your mind.
Wow. It's very touching. The music is on point. Talk to me about that story.
Half Light is about my journey of confronting an illness a health issue, and it started 2015 when I was diagnosed with endometriosis. Endometriosis is a chronic reproductive system disorder, and it is a very painful disorder. When I diagnosed with that, I started to after a while, of course, I start to taking some pictures for expressing my mental state, because when you have when you are in pain for most of the time, the mind is not working very well, and everything is gets more overwhelmed, and so I start to take pictures to see to discover, or to make my mind occupied with something else. Then, sadly, I was diagnosed with cancer, and because the doctors told me that this endometriosis will not get bad, and it's a benign situation. So it was a benign cyst, but in my case, it got bad, and I eventually had to do total hysterectomy surgery, which means the removal of both ovaries and the womb. So, and I didn't have a child, and at that time I wasn't thinking of having a child. But when the doctors told me that I have to remove all the things, and I will not be able to have a child, it was very sad situation. And at that time, I think that I have to do something for myself instead of throwing myself into the darkness of the cancer world. When they tell someone that they have cancer, it comes with a lot of darkness, and it's hard to cope with the situation. And I couldn't find anything better than photography to help me to come out of that situation. When someone start to work with photography and start to work on subject matter, you have to make some distance from yourself and the subject to be able to see more clearly. And in my case, I had to make a distance with myself. So it was very helpful to see my situation, the family, my husband, and everything that we were facing from a broader perspective. And it helped me so much to cope with that. And and it's interesting thing happened during that time that I was working, and I was at the early stages of my chemotherapy. That Jason Coxwell from Urbanaut Publishing contacted me and told me, "Do you want to have a photo book of this project, of these pictures?" And I was, "Oh yeah, of course I want to have that." And since then, I got more strength to that helped me to recover very fast after each session of chemotherapy, to come back to my house and start working, start taking more pictures, start editing, start looking at the thing more carefully and more deeply. And it was a very nice and interesting experience working with Jason and the editor Shane Refilio, and they helped me a lot at that time. And it was a thing that changed everything, changed every aspect of that situation. My mental and physical health was improved because of that. And, I'm so happy to have a book of this project, because I can see it as a baby, my child, the child that I won't be able to have. But yeah, I have that feeling for this project in this book especially. And if you like, we can see some of the pictures.
Yeah, you just said something that was pretty powerful. It's I see it as my baby, the baby that I should have had. That was really, really powerful. The last thing I was going to say is ask before we jump in is how did you get in contact with these people? Did you submit your work and you were like, hey, how did they find out about you, and how did that all work?
It's a magic of Instagram.
The magic of Instagram. Wow.
Yeah.
I've never heard that. Most people say, but go on, keep going.
Yeah, because me and Jason were following each other on Instagram, I don't know, for a year or so. And yeah, he just contacted me and he asked me, he wanted to see some more works. And I was at that time at a very difficult situation. I was checking myself. I was at the stage that I didn't know I had cancer or not. I had to do a surgery or not. And it delayed, and I delayed to send him the pictures, sending my portfolio to see whatever we can do with them. And I think 6 months passed at that time. And then Jason again contacted me and said that I want to see more pictures. And I told him about my situation. And he said, okay, can we talk over the video? And I said, yes. And everything started from that. I don't know. It's magical.
Wow. It's a wonderful story. So you actually use a couple of different mediums, and I was actually you're kind of expressing yourself in different ways. I saw in the images. So let's share and kind of talk to me about some of your choices. And I'm going to share, which I don't typically do on this show. So I apologize to everyone out there for my clumsiness as we go through this, but we will take a look, and I'll have you kind of guide me through. Does that work?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. All right. We're now looking at an image of it looks like a window, and I made this. I put this picture at first because I wish to talk about the situation that I was in, which I put lots of it in this picture. For me, when I talk about the metaphorical aspect of my work, I can now talk more about that. What we can see, it's a dying tulip, and tulip has a lot of meaning in Persian culture. It has a meaning of the martyrs, and it is also connected with love, and lots of classical poetry use that metaphor in their poems. And for me, it is a very important element, and because tulips comes with the spring, but what we can see it's dying. But what we know, if you care and if you keep
the roots of the tulip with care and love, it will grow the next year.
Mm.
And this is for me the sign that I may be a little bit of out of shape or out of control. Mentally, but with all the love that I am receiving from my family, my husband, and my friends, I can eventually grow next year. And so this picture has a two-sided view of my situation. One side is that I see myself very close to death, and the other meaning is that I am hopeful to thrive again, to bloom again.
Mm.
And it all combined with a twisted curtain behind the flower. I try to combine all these meanings and all these feelings in this picture. Yeah.
Wonderful. It's a powerful visual device, and so we're gonna kind of go through this. I'm gonna let you talk as you wish, and just tell me to go next. And
Okay.
I think you're taking me on a journey, so I'm not going to jump in too much. So, of course, it's. I feel like I'm watching visual poetry. You know.
That's
Yeah. And as you kind of, I interpret it because you're using symbology, you're using image, you're using visual cues that are speaking to certain things, and I have my own interpretation, and I can feel them, but to hear your story behind them is actually quite powerful. So I'm gonna kind of let you take me through, and then I'm gonna ask you some questions after. Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
For me, it's a symbol of the loneliness that I was experiencing. And, when I was diagnosed with cancer, it is, as we all know, it is very overwhelming and sad. And no one can experience the thing that the person that has been diagnosed with cancer is. And it's a total loneliness when you cannot talk about your thoughts, your feelings, the fears, and everything that's suddenly is coming to you. So I found photography a very suitable tool for me to express these feelings. And this picture is for me, it's a sign of that loneliness and that experience. This is also my body with the scars of the two major surgeries that I had, and I wasn't able to see closely my body, how my body is changing on the mirror. So I used the camera to see myself, to look at myself. Now I see the camera at that point as an extension of my eye. So I needed to have a picture that I can examine my body better. And here is also my me and my husband's shadow on the wall on the rooftop of my parents. It's where we had our dates, because back then when I was going through the chemotherapy, my immune system was very weak, and the doctors won't allow me to be in a public, be in a party, or in gatherings any sort. So it was our our way of having fun. at those times. We were going to upstairs to have also sunbathing a little bit and to spend time together. And yeah.
What does this shadow mean to you? Why use a shadow?
No, because I wasn't able to see things very clearly and as they were. And I, you can see it a little bit sky at the left of the picture and a little bit hope. But we are, in front of us is a huge building and a huge wall. But also we we see windows. These contradictory feelings of mine when the hope and fears we're always together. And yeah, I think I wanted to put all of that in this audio work in general, but we can see it in this picture also. And yeah, I like this picture very much. This is titled "Another Happy Day." It is a dancing piece of cloth hanging to be dried, and it is somehow I can see myself in it, hanging, and not, I wasn't able to feel when I'm standing. You can see it in other pictures as well. I wasn't feeling that I'm stable, but also happy.
Yeah. I think when I'd heard you talk about this image in the past, you said that they were dancing in the wind, like dancing. It's such a joyous thing. I do have a quick question for you. Is that some photographers struggle naming their images and giving them titles and stuff like that. Does that come easily to you?
Not really.
No? Okay.
But in this project, it was easy for me to title my pictures because they all have some sort of meanings for me.
Of course.
Yeah, and this is my husband's hand searching or trying to catch light, and I use hands a lot in this project, and I was in need of them, I guess. The symbol of the hand reaching to you, and it's okay.
And light obviously is a significant symbol for you. It's in the title, and you're playing with it a lot in these images. What does that mean to you? How are you using it here? What's it symbolize to you?
You mean in this picture or in general?
Just in general. You're using light as half light. You're using light in a way here. You're using shadow. It obviously has some kind of meaning to you, and I'm kind of curious what that might be for you.
Yeah. As I said, I was in a contradictory state. Half light come from that state also.
Yeah.
The half light in Persian means twilight. The meaning of twilight in Farsi we can be better interpret in with half light. And it was I am hopeful, but I'm afraid. I want to live, but I may die very soon. I'm facing death, but I'm living. I have a lot of fear, but I also have a lot of love around me, from family, friends, and and these all. I was in a state that I couldn't act or say. I don't have a rigid feeling. I was constantly in a state of moving between emotions and thoughts and fears. And actually, the book is also like that. That the book has a sequencing of starting at one end, starting from the darkness and going through and end with a light. And the book has been sequenced and designed the way that the reader can both read it back and forth. You can read it from left to right or right to left. And with both, you have a different experience and ending. If you start with the dark side, you will end in light. And if you start with lightness, you will end in darkness. And for me, it was some kind of my point of view in general, when everything is constantly becoming to something else. Lightness will become darkness, and darkness will become lightness. Like life and death in general. And
I think you have an interesting perspective on that, and I was, I almost feel foolish in the fact that I was looking at light with only one definition, and you're looking at it on multiple dimensions, multiple levels. It could be a symbol for life. It can be a symbol for cycle. It can be a symbol for love. It can be so many different things. And wow, it's a really interesting thing to think about, for sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Wow, that was good. Yeah. I really enjoyed that. Yeah. We're going to continue through the images as you wish.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and this is so the from the very beginning of this project, and it was back then when I was diagnosed with endometriosis, because it is a condition that the menstrual blood don't come out completely out of the body, and it stays there, and it gets thickened and it gets bigger each month. And this is a cloth when my friends were having grape vinegar. They were making grape vinegar. So when I saw this, I thought that this is how my body might look like inside. And it's kind of scary.
Yeah, it's you're finding your experience through frames, and it's pretty powerful.
Yeah, you can move on. These are
happy. It's our happiness. It's birds, and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
And you're just capturing more of these intimate moments
of hands, and you can see the darkness, the light.
Yeah, the same metaphor at play. And it's like your husband seems like a big influence on you at this time. Are you willing to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, we get very more intimate with each other after that. And it's hard when I had this kind of I had cancer, and I was thinking about I might be leaving this earth. And and my observation of my husband was also very deep, because I could see his worrying, his fear, And you know, we were I don't like to use acting, but we were just not not showing each other really how we felt, because that way we thought that we can keep each other's mood up and don't keep each other down. And yeah, it was very interesting and also sad
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very important to you. He's showing up a lot in your images. And
Yeah.
talk to me about this one.
This one is a little bush separated from its root, and it's in a place that it shouldn't be. And I titled it Half Light, and not just because the separating and the darkness and the lightness inside the picture, also because of the same thing, that it's not attached to its roots. But the interesting thing about these kind of plants, these are based in dry places, dry climates, I mean. And the interesting thing is that if the wind comes and they roll to a place where there will be water and there will be growth there, it may look dead to you, but it's not. And it's the magic and the interesting part of the dry climate plants that I really enjoy.
You gave it the title of the whole series. This is it's like the title image. And so that metaphor kind of makes a lot of sense now. I love the contrast in this one. I love the two different tones there. It almost has now that you talk about the metaphors that you're using in your imagery, you can see the metaphors at play here, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
And I think this is our final image that you want to share today.
Yeah, this is our final image. And it's also, you cannot guess the scale. And I really play with that in this project.
That series ended in 2018, and so you look great. So I'm assuming that you've recovered and everything. And what's it like looking back at that series and talking about that series?
It makes me emotional every time I talk about it. Every time I look at those pictures, it makes me very emotional. But it's good, because I learned a lot of things during that time and during working on this body of work. And, we people need a reminder every now and then. Yeah. Because, no matter how hard it was, no matter how deep my understanding was, but with the daily life, I will forget about them. And it's good for me to remind myself what I was going through and how the things changed for me. The meaning of life changed for me. And it's not a joke, but yeah, I have to remember that.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that leave their past behind them and they just never look back, and I can totally relate to that. And this could be one of those moments for you for sure. But you turned it into an art project and you made a book with it. And I can only imagine that it has some kind of effect on you, having to reflect on it all the time. But I think there's something really healthy about that. I think there's something that is really important, and you pointed to it. You find a gratitude almost, the lessons that are buried in those moments.